Now for a Newsmax exclusive. Nearly a quarter century after a deadly attack on American troops in Kuwait, a delayed but long-sought recognition is happening. 16 service members receiving Purple Heart medals for an assault carried out not by a foreign enemy, but by one of their own. National security correspondent Carla Babb bringing us this emotional story.
In the pre-dawn hours of March 23, 2003, thousands of American soldiers and airmen based at Camp Pennsylvania in Kuwait were just days away from crossing into Iraq to topple Saddam Hussein. What they didn't see coming was the threat within their ranks.
The attack started to get closer to our tent, and I heard more gunfire, more yelling. I, in my mind, said to myself, how did the enemy get in the wire?
Bedlam and possibly betrayal.
The chaos captured by CBS News embedded cameras. U.S. Army Sergeant Hassan Kareem Akbar had a plan. He stole grenades from the camp's ammunition stores, cut the lights, and then moved tent to tent, hurling grenades into the quarters of sleeping officers and shooting soldiers as they scrambled to escape.
Commander's back there asleep.
Retired Command Sergeant Major Babb was in the first tent attacked.
So I jump up, run to the back of the tent, wake him up. Hey, you got to get up. There's a grenade about to go off up front. We got to get out of here. I said, I'm going to count to 3 and then we're going to run. And I count to 3 and we take off.
Womack made it out just before a grenade exploded.
Right in there is the depression or the hole that the frag grenade made. Like the whole blast of the frag grenade is all over here while I slept.
That's why you say if you were sleeping.
And I probably wouldn't be sitting here.
14 service members were wounded, 6 critically, including Martone.
I heard we're under attack. I was trying to get a magazine into the weapon so that if something happened outside, I would be ready. And my weapon went in the air, I went in the air, and before I hit the ground, I said, you lost your left leg. That's how painful it was.
But the pain that came next was unbearable. Akbar had killed 2 colleagues. Air Force Major Gregory Stone from dozens of shrapnel wounds. Army Captain Christopher Seifert from a shot in the back.
He said Chris didn't make it, and it was just really devastating because I have a portion of survivor's guilt that, you know, why was I spared that night? But unspoken was kind of the feeling of we're not going to let that guy get the better of us.
Sergeant Akbar was arrested that same morning. In 2005, he was tried at Fort Bragg and sentenced to death for premeditated murder and attempted murder. His own diaries and Army documents reviewed by Newsmax left no doubt about his motives. He wrote, "My life will not be complete unless America is destroyed. Destroying America is my greatest goal."
He writes in his diary, I'm not going to do anything as long as I stay here at Fort Campbell, but as soon as I get over there, I'm going to try to kill as many of them as possible. And then the ammo came just hours before the attack.
Despite all that, those killed and wounded at Camp Pennsylvania received no Purple Hearts. It wasn't until a similar attack at Fort Hood in 2009 and a congressional push that followed that the Purple Heart criteria was expanded to cover terror attacks from a domestic perpetrator who had been in communication with a foreign terrorist organization. Fort Hood victims received those medals in 2016.
There's got to be some explanation.
Backed by Congressman Don Bacon, Camp Pennsylvania survivors were nominated for the medals in 2022.
These folks were there to deploy for the invasion of Iraq. They were injured or killed in the line of duty. To me, it made no sense not to recognize them with the Purple Heart.
But the Army and the Air Force denied the request, citing no direct link to a foreign terror group. Womack pointed to a detail that had haunted the survivors for years. The Camp Pennsylvania attack is listed in the Army's own Level 1 anti-terrorism training as a case study in insider threats.
So it's not a terrorist attack. Then why is it in your anti-terrorism training? So you can imagine our guys, they would tell me, I read that thing again. I did that training again. I see this attack. It's under terrorism, but I can't get a Purple Heart.
For retired Colonel Martone, the award is deeply personal. He pays regular visits to Major Gregory Stone's grave at Arlington, and for years he has noticed what's missing from the stone.
A lot of the Afghanistan and Iraq veterans are in that section. They put their awards at the very bottom of the tombstone, and you go kind of down the line, Purple Heart, Purple Heart, Purple Heart, skip, Purple Heart, Purple Heart. This is really a shame that he deserves that Purple Heart. One thing that I admire about this country is that often there are wrongs that occur, and over time, eventually those wrongs are righted. And I would put this in that category of a wrong that should have been fixed a long time ago that finally got righted.
And for Bart Womack, the man who refused to let this be forgotten, the ceremony today is about the oath that every one of these service members took. He told me, "We swear an oath to defend against enemies foreign and domestic. It didn't matter who their enemy was. What mattered was their sacrifice." Back to you, Bianca.
Incredible, and long time coming, but so deserved. Carla, thank you for bringing us the emotions there today in Kentucky. It is so important we share these stories.